The man's credit cards hit the diner counter one by one. Declined, declined, declined. James Whitmore Chen, Seattle's most powerful tech investor, couldn't pay for a $4.75 cup of coffee. But here's the thing. This wasn't just any billionaire having a bad night. 48 hours ago, his ex-wife's legal team had frozen $2.3 billion in assets. His phone lay shattered on the table, destroyed in a rage he couldn't control. His brother Thomas was orchestrating a corporate coup at Meridian Capital. And across the diner, a waitress in a stained uniform watched him with recognition in her eyes. Her name was Olivia Martinez. But what James didn't know, what no one in that diner knew, was that 3 years ago, when she and her daughter slept in this same parking lot, she'd sworn she'd never let another human being feel invisible again. The man who couldn't pay his tab was about to become her biggest test. Before I tell you what happened next, answer me this. Could you offer shelter to a stranger when you barely have shelter yourself? Could you risk everything for someone who might destroy you? Drop your answer below. Be honest and hit subscribe right now. Because what this waitress offered this billionaire, what he didn't realize until it was too late, will leave you speechless. This isn't just a story about class divide. It's about the moment when staying silent becomes more dangerous than speaking up. And when James walked into that boardroom 3 days later, every calculation he'd ever made about worth and power shattered in a single breath. 2:47 a.m. Palmer's Diner, Pioneer Square, Seattle. The November rainstorm battered the windows like fists demanding entry. The neon sign outside flickered, red, dark, casting the interior in pulses of bloody light. Olivia Martinez moved between tables with the mechanical efficiency of someone who'd done this exact dance 1,000 times. Her uniform carried the ghosts of the night's spills. Coffee on the left shoulder, ketchup near the hem, grease stains that no amount of washing would ever fully erase. She was 28, but looked older. The kind of tired that settles into your bones, rewrites your face. In the corner booth sat a man who didn't belong. His Tom Ford suit was soaked through, clinging to his frame like a second skin. Water dripped from his hair onto the documents spread before him. Official papers with the kind of letterhead that meant lawyers, courts, endings. A Rolex caught the flickering neon light on his wrist. His hands trembled as he reached for his coffee cup for the 4th time, brought it halfway to his lips, then set it down untouched. Olivia noticed because noticing was survival. In 3 years of working this shift, she'd learned to read people the way scholars read ancient texts. In the slight details, the things they didn't say, the spaces between actions. This man was drowning. "Sir, if you can't pay, I'll need to call the police." Ron's voice cut through the diner's ambient hum. The hiss of the coffee maker, the low murmur of late-night conversations. The rain's relentless percussion. Ron, the night manager, stood over the corner booth with his arms crossed. He was the kind of man who enforced rules because rules were all the power he'd ever have. James Whitmore Chen looked up. His face carried the particular devastation of someone watching their entire world collapse in real time. He pulled out his wallet, premium leather, the kind that cost more than Olivia made in a week, and extracted 3 credit cards. The first one declined. The second declined. The third declined. His expression shifted from confusion to understanding to something darker. Rage, the kind that makes a man's jaw clench so hard you can see the muscle jump beneath the skin. She froze everything, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Every account. Don't care about your personal drama. Ron said, you pay or you leave. People were watching now. Late-night customers, insomniacs, shift workers, people with nowhere else to be, had their phones out. Someone whispered, "That's James Chen," from the news. Humiliation is a specific kind of violence. Olivia had felt it before. She recognized it in the way this man's shoulders curled inward, the way his breathing went shallow, the way he couldn't meet anyone's eyes. Her brain did what it always did. Math. Instant, automatic, brutal. Bank account, 43/12 until Friday. Emma's asthma medication due, $287, rent due in 5 days, $900. The numbers didn't work. They never worked. She'd been doing this calculation for 3 years, every day, trying to solve an equation with no solution. But then she saw his eyes, and she remembered. 3 years ago. This same parking lot? 2 weeks sleeping in her Honda Civic with Emma, who was barely 2 years old. The shame of washing in gas station bathrooms. The way people looked through her like she was glass. Then Martha, an elderly woman at a Shell station who bought them breakfast. Eggs, toast, orange juice. $12 that felt like $1 million. And Martha's words, "I've been where you are, baby. Pass it forward someday." Olivia's feet moved before her brain caught up. "I've got his tab, Ron." The diner went quiet. That particular silence that happens when something unexpected interrupts the established order. Ron's eyes narrowed. "Liv, that's $4.75 out of your tips." Her hands were already pulling cash from her apron pocket. Crumpled ones and fives, warm from being pressed against her body during an 8-hour shift. James looked at her fully for the first time. Really looked. Not through, but at. "You don't have to do that," he said. "Neither did the woman who bought me breakfast once." Olivia placed the money on the counter. "Now we're even with the universe." Ron took the bills with a disapproving grunt. The other staff exchanged glances. Marcus, the line cook, shook his head like she'd just made a mistake she'd regret. Ashley, the young server, whispered something to another customer. But Olivia didn't care about any of that. Because she'd just seen something in this stranger's face that changed everything. Gratitude without expectation. He wasn't calculating what he could get from her. He was just grateful. When was the last time someone with power had looked at her like an equal? The rain intensified outside, drumming against the windows like it was trying to break through. Olivia wiped down the counter, her mind already moving to the next table, the next order, the next crisis. But then she looked at the clock. 3:15 a.m. Closing time. "Everybody out," Ron called. "We're locking up." James stood slowly like a man who'd aged decades in hours. He checked his broken phone, screen spiderwebbed with cracks, then his empty wallet. His Mercedes had been repossessed yesterday. He'd taken an Uber here with his last working credit card, which had been declined somewhere between ordering and drinking his coffee. He had nowhere to go. No hotel would take him without a working card. He couldn't call anyone. His phone was destroyed, and the only people he'd have called were the ones orchestrating his destruction. Olivia watched him stand in the doorway, rain soaking him immediately, staring out at a city that had become hostile territory. And she made a decision that would change both their lives. "You can sleep in my car tonight." The words hung in the air between them. James turned, rainwater streaming down his face. "What?" "My car. In the lot. It's clean. Has a blanket." Her voice was steady, but her heart hammered against her ribs. "Storm's supposed to clear by morning. I can't ask you to. You didn't ask. I'm offering." She pulled her keys from her pocket. "Just for tonight." His pride warred with his desperation. She could see it happening in real time. The part of him that had never needed help from anyone fighting the part that understood he was out of options. Desperation won. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Just for tonight." Olivia led him through the rain to her 2008 Honda Civic. 187,000 miles, rust spots blooming along the wheel wells. But the interior was immaculate. She'd made sure of that. When your car is sometimes your home, you keep it clean. She opened the back door. A blanket lay folded neatly on the seat. Emma's car seat was buckled in the other side. An asthma inhaler rested in the cup holder. James noticed everything. The car seat, the prescription label on the inhaler showing a $287 copay, the textbook wedged beside the seat. Advanced Business Strategy, 3rd edition. The University of Washington parking sticker on the window expired exactly 3 years ago. Highlighted passages. Notes in the margins written in precise, analytical handwriting. This woman wasn't just kind. She was brilliant and trapped. "I'll be back at 6 a.m. for my morning shift," Olivia said. She was already soaked from 30 seconds in the rain. James climbed into the back seat, his expensive suit ridiculous against the worn fabric. "Thank you," he said again. "I'll pay you back. I mean it. Don't worry about it." She closed the door and walked away, not looking back until she reached the bus stop. When she did glance over her shoulder, she saw him lying in her car, staring at the ceiling, probably wondering how his life had led him here. Olivia's bus arrived. She climbed on, dropped her fare in the slot, and found a seat near the back. "What am I doing?" she thought. "I just gave a stranger access to everything I own. My car, my daughter's things. What if he robs me? What if this is a con? What if? But louder than the doubts was Martha's voice from 3 years ago. "Pass it forward, baby." The bus pulled away. Rain streaking the windows, the city passing in blurred lights and shadows. Olivia arrived home at 4:17 a.m. to an empty apartment. Emma was still at their neighbor Gloria's. They traded childcare, Gloria's overnight shifts for Olivia's morning ones, a system built on mutual desperation and trust. She had 3 hours before she needed to pick up Emma. 3 hours before her next shift started. 3 hours to wonder if she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life. Or the best decision. 6 hours earlier. 5:00 a.m. The alarm screamed. Olivia's hand shot out, silencing it before it could wake Emma. The studio apartment was cold. The radiator clanked and hissed, but produced more noise than heat. Water stains bloomed across the ceiling like dark flowers. The pull-out couch where Emma slept was lumpy, the springs visible through the thin mattress. But it was theirs. After 2 weeks living in the car, this apartment felt like a mansion. Olivia's phone screen glowed in the darkness. 5:02 a.m. She opened her banking app. The numbers appeared, stark and unforgiving. Checking account, $394.67. She did the math she'd done 1,000 times. Rent due in 5 days, $900. Emma's asthma medication, no insurance. $287. Electricity bill, 2 weeks overdue, $143. Mother's hospice debt, still remaining $15,000. The numbers didn't add up. They never did. She'd need $330 just to survive the next week. She had $394.67. Olivia sat up carefully, trying not to disturb Emma. Her daughter lay curled under a donated comforter, her small chest rising and falling with each breath. Sometimes Olivia counted those breaths, a habit from when Emma's asthma was worse, when each breath felt like a negotiation with fate. She moved through her morning routine with practiced efficiency. Made Emma's lunch while reviewing spelling words taped to the refrigerator. Checked the inhaler. 4 doses left, which meant 4 days before she'd need to find $287 she didn't have. Laid out Emma's clothes for school. Organized her schedule with color-coded precision on a wall calendar. School, work, bills, doctor appointments. Every detail mattered. When you're one mistake away from losing everything, you don't make mistakes. On the nightstand sat a photograph. Olivia in a graduation gown, holding her diploma, smiling like the future was limitless. University of Washington, Business Administration, full scholarship. The girl in that photo had no idea what was coming. Next to it, an acceptance letter to the MBA program. Deferred once, deferred twice, deferred a third time, then expired. Dreams have expiration dates too. Olivia opened her small notebook, the one where she tracked every dollar. Her handwriting filled the pages. Income, expenses, payment schedules, backup plans for backup plans, the math of survival. She checked the time. 6:15 a.m. Time to catch the bus. The walk to the bus stop took her past Amazon headquarters, where tech workers in expensive North Face jackets filed into a building made of glass and ambition. She'd studied alongside people who now worked in places like that. People who'd had parents who could support them through internships, who didn't get pregnant at 25, who didn't have gambling addict husbands who drained accounts and disappeared. She could have been one of them. Should have been. The bus arrived. She paid her fare, another $2.75 she couldn't afford to spend, and found a seat. Through the window, Seattle passed in all its divided glory. Gleaming tech campuses next to tent cities, luxury condos next to food banks, wealth and poverty existing side by side, like they were different countries sharing a border. Olivia arrived at Palmer's Diner at 6:45 a.m., changed into her uniform in the bathroom, checked her reflection in the mirror. Dark circles under her eyes. 28 years old, but looking older. The face of someone who'd been tired for so long, they'd forgotten what rest felt like. Marcus, the cook, nodded when she entered the kitchen. He never asked about her life. She appreciated that. The morning shift began. Coffee, eggs, toast, refills. Smiles for customers who didn't see her face, just the service. Calculations running in her head. Table 4 tipped 15%. Table 7 stiffed her completely. Table 2 left exact change. Every dollar mattered. Every single one. 8:47 p.m. Same day. The black Mercedes SUV pulled up outside Palmer's Diner like a predator arriving at a watering hole. The driver opened the rear door, and James Whitmore Chen emerged into the Seattle evening. He moved like someone accustomed to deference. Tom Ford suit that cost $4,800. Brunello Cucinelli shoes worth $2,600. But his eyes were wrong, hollow and exhausted, the kind of tired that comes from betrayal rather than lack of sleep. 45 years old, but carrying himself like someone decades older, like the weight he carried had compressed his spine. Ron practically sprinted across the diner. "Mr. Chen, your usual table?" The other servers straightened, checked their appearance, suddenly hyper-aware. Everyone knew what a James Whitmore Chen visit meant. Generous tips, prestige by proximity, a story to tell. Everyone except Olivia, who watched from behind the counter with the analytical eyes she'd developed from 3 years of studying people who didn't know they were being studied. James commanded space without trying. Deep voice that made people lean in to catch every word. Measured gestures that suggested control. But tonight, something was off. He checked his phone obsessively. Ordered coffee but didn't drink it. His hands clenched into fists when he thought no one was looking. Then something unexpected happened. An elderly woman struggled with the door, arms full of grocery bags. James immediately stood, crossed the restaurant, held the door with his body while he took her bags. "Let me help you with that, ma'am." His voice was gentle, genuinely warm. He walked her to her car, set the bags carefully in her trunk, made sure she was settled before returning to his booth. Olivia noticed because she always noticed. Most men with that kind of wealth walked past elderly women like they were furniture. This one didn't. When she refilled his coffee, he said, "Thank you, Olivia." He'd read her name tag, used her name. Most customers didn't even register that she had one. Then his phone rang. "Thomas, you can't do this. It's my company." His voice rose, the veneer of control cracking. "The board won't side with you. I built Meridian from nothing." A pause. His knuckles went white around the phone. "Victoria needs me. I can't lose my daughter, too." The call ended. James slammed the phone against the table edge. The screen spiderwebbed instantly. Silence rippled outward from his booth. He pulled out papers, divorce decree, asset freeze orders, emergency board meeting notice, spread them across the table like evidence at a crime scene. Olivia watched his hands shake as he tried again to drink his coffee. 4 cups ordered. None finished. Whatever had happened to this man, it was catastrophic. When the check came, he pulled out his wallet. Premium leather. 3 credit cards. Declined. 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 His face went through an evolution. Confusion, understanding, rage. "She froze everything," he said to no one in particular. "Every account." Ron approached with his manager voice. "Sir, if you can't pay, I'll need to call the police." "Do you know who I am?" "Don't care who you are. Can't pay means you leave." People were watching now. Phones out. Someone whispered, "That's James Chen." From the news. The humiliation was visible. This man who commanded boardrooms, who'd built a $4.2 billion fortune, couldn't pay for coffee. And Olivia Martinez, who had $43 until Friday, watched a billionaire discover what invisibility felt like. 2 voices fought in Olivia's head. Voice 1. "You have 43. Emma needs medication. This isn't your problem." Voice 2. "You've been exactly where he is. Invisible. Helpless." Her heart hammered. Her hands were sweating. The memory came unbidden. 3 years ago. Gas station bathroom. Washing Emma's face with paper towels. The elderly woman who appeared like an angel and bought them breakfast. "Mummy, why is that man so sad?" Emma had asked once, seeing a homeless veteran outside a grocery store. "Because sometimes people forget to see each other, baby." Olivia stepped forward. "I've got his tab. Ron." The diner went silent. Ron's eyes narrowed. "Liv, that's $4.75 out of your tips." Her hands pulled crumpled bills from her apron. "I know." James looked up at her, really seeing her for the first time. "You don't have to do that." "Neither did the woman who bought me breakfast once." She placed the money on the counter. "Now we're even with the universe." Ron took the cash with obvious disapproval. Marcus, watching from the kitchen, mouthed the word crazy. Ashley whispered to another server, "He's a billionaire. He'll be fine." But Olivia saw something different. She saw a human being who'd lost everything and had nowhere to go. 3:15 a.m. Closing time. The rain had intensified to a downpour that sounded like static against the windows. James stood, checked his broken phone, his empty cards. He had no transportation, his Mercedes repossessed yesterday. No hotel would take him without working credit. Olivia watched him stare at the door, at the rain, at a future that had become hostile territory. She made her choice. "You can sleep in my car tonight." James turned, rain already soaking him. "What?" "My car. In the lot. It's clean. Has a blanket." Her voice stayed steady, even as her brain screamed warnings. "Storm's supposed to clear by morning." "I can't. You didn't ask. I'm offering." His pride fought his desperation. Desperation won. "Thank you. Just for tonight." She led him to her Honda Civic, opened the back door to reveal a clean interior, folded blanket, Emma's car seat, the textbook wedged beside the seat, the expired parking sticker. James saw it all, understood immediately. This woman wasn't just kind. She was brilliant, educated, trapped. "I'll be back at 6 a.m., Olivia said. She walked away without looking back until she reached the bus stop. "What have I done?" she thought. But louder, "Pass it forward, baby. 4:30 a.m. Home." Olivia lay in bed, unable to sleep. Her mind raced through possibilities. What if he steals the car? What if he hurts someone? What if this ruins everything? But also, he looked broken. Really broken. Her phone, 389.92 remaining. 3 hours until she picked up Emma. 3 hours until her next shift. A text arrived at 5:03 a.m. "Marcus. Heard you're doing well. Emma needs a father." Her stomach dropped. He'd never cared before. His new wife wanted to look maternal for Instagram. He was filing for custody. Court date, 3 weeks. Everything she'd rebuilt was about to be tested. Olivia just made a choice that will change everything. She offered shelter to a stranger when she barely has shelter herself. Before we continue, I need you to decide. Was she right to risk her last dollars on someone who might never think of her again? Or should she have protected herself and Emma first? Your answer reveals something about your relationship with kindness and power. Drop it below. Be honest. There's no right answer. And make sure you're subscribed, because what happens when James wakes up in that car, what he discovers about Olivia's real story, it's calculated, unexpected, and completely changes the game. This is story number 47 in my Hidden Genius series. I document people working invisible jobs who have skills that would shock you. Next week, the night janitor at Goldman Sachs who used to run the forensics division. His story ends in federal court. You don't want to miss it. Hit subscribe, leave a like if you're still watching, and drop below. Have you ever helped someone even though you couldn't afford to? What happened? 6:34 a.m., Palmer's Diner parking lot. James woke to pain. His neck screamed from the cramped position. His expensive suit, wrinkled beyond recognition, clung to his body like a second skin of failure. Morning light filtered through the car windows, harsh and unforgiving. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then memory returned. Declined credit cards, a waitress's kindness, sleeping in a stranger's car because he had nowhere else to go. He sat up slowly, his body protesting every movement. And then he started noticing details. Emma's car seat, buckled in beside where he'd slept. Well-maintained, but old. A Goodwill sticker on the bottom, partially peeled away. Someone had cared for this seat, kept it clean despite its age. The asthma inhaler in the cup holder? He picked it up, read the prescription label. Emma Martinez, age 5, albuterol sulfate. Copay, $287 for a child to breathe. The textbook wedged beside the seat caught his attention next. Advanced Business Strategy, 3rd edition. University of Washington sticker on the spine. He pulled it out, opened to a random page. Highlighted passages, notes in the margins, precise handwriting, analytical observations. Boardroom coups often succeed due to internal negligence. Founding CEOs trust too easily. The betrayer is usually someone with access and grievance. Look for the person who feels undervalued despite proximity to power. James stopped breathing. This wasn't casual reading. This was graduate-level analysis. This was someone who understood corporate warfare at a level most MBAs never reached. He flipped through more pages, every chapter heavily annotated, strategic frameworks dissected, case studies analyzed with surgical precision. He checked the sun visor. A receipt fell out, food bank, dated 2 days ago. Another receipt, electricity bill with final notice, stamped in red. $143 due. The college parking sticker on the window, expired exactly 3 years ago. The pieces assembled in his mind like a puzzle he should have seen immediately. She wasn't just generous, she was brilliant. She'd given him money she desperately needed. Money for her daughter's medication, for electricity, for survival. To pay a $4.75 tab for a stranger. She had the education he'd hire for 6 figures at Meridian. She understood hostile takeovers, corporate strategy, power dynamics. She could probably run circles around half his executive team. And she was working at a diner, living in poverty, trapped. Shame hit him like a physical blow. When did I become the person who votes without investigating? When did I stop seeing people? He thought about building Meridian from nothing. His first office had been a garage. He'd been broke once, hustling, invisible to the people with power. When had he become one of them? He looked at her notation again. Founding CEOs trust too easily. His situation exactly. He'd trusted Thomas. Never questioned, never investigated. Assumed blood meant loyalty. She would have seen it coming. She studied this. James pulled out his broken phone. Tried to power it on. Nothing. The screen remained black, spider-webbed with cracks. Through the windshield, he saw movement. Olivia, walking toward the diner. 6:45 a.m. Her shift starting. He made a decision, opened the car door, stood, waited for her to reach the parking lot. She needed to know he understood now. And he needed help from the only person who might be able to save him. Olivia saw him standing by her car, and her first thought was, he's going to rob me. Her keys moved between her fingers automatically, a weapon if needed. Her body angled toward the street, ready to run. I need to ask you something, James said. Does it matter? Her voice was flat, defensive. I saw your book. He gestured to the car. Your notes. You have an MBA-level understanding of corporate strategy. Why are you working here? The wall went up instantly. That's none of your business. You're right. I'm sorry. He took a breath. But I need help. And I think you're the only person who can actually help me. I gave you shelter. That's all I can afford to give. I'm not asking for money. His voice was urgent now. I'm asking for advice. That book, you understand hostile takeovers. My brother has taken my company. Board meeting Friday. I have nothing. No lawyer, no phone, no access to files. But you... You see patterns. Please. Olivia's mind was already working despite herself. Brother, board meeting, asset freeze, classic three-point attack, isolate the target, strike when vulnerable, overwhelm defenses. She knew this pattern. Chapter 7. Family betrayal in corporate settings. You're already solving it, aren't you? James said quietly. I can see it in your eyes. I have a shift. I can't talk now. Please. Something in his voice, desperation mixed with respect, made her pause. Come back at 2 p.m., she heard herself say. We'll have 30 minutes before my double. That's all you get. Thank you. And Olivia, I meant what I said. I'll pay you back. Everything. She walked away, mind racing through possibilities she shouldn't be considering. Behind her, James whispered to himself. Who are you, really? 11:47 p.m. Olivia's apartment. Emma slept soundly in the next room. Olivia sat at the kitchen table with the library laptop. She couldn't afford internet at home, and searched. James Whitmore, Chen, Seattle. The results flooded in. Meridian Capital Group. CEO since founding in 2009. Net worth, $4.2 billion. Tech venture capital. Early investor in 3 companies that became unicorns. Then the recent headlines. Messy divorce. Chen's ex-wife alleges financial misconduct. Emergency board meeting Friday to determine Chen's future. Brother Thomas Chen emerges as potential successor. She clicked deeper. Thomas Chen, COO of Meridian, Yale MBA, joined 2012. But in the archived news, she found something interesting. A lawsuit from 3 years ago, settled quietly. Thomas had wanted equal ownership. James refused. I built this, you work for me. Family wound, never healed. The divorce details revealed more. Catherine Albridge Chen, corporate lawyer, filed September 1st. Asset freeze granted September 7th. Emergency board meeting scheduled September 9th. Olivia pulled out a notebook and started mapping timelines. This wasn't random. This was coordinated. Wife files, assets freeze, brother moves, board meeting scheduled. All within 9 days. Classic corporate coup strategy. She'd written a paper on this exact scenario in business school. Professor's note. You have instinct for power dynamics most people never develop. Against every survival instinct, she opened a new document, started typing. Counterattack plan for hostile board takeover. Her brain wouldn't stop solving the puzzle, even knowing it was dangerous, even knowing she should walk away, because she could see it, all of it, and nobody else was looking. 2:17 p.m., Palmer's Diner storage room. The room smelled like industrial flour and cleaning supplies. One bare bulb hung from the ceiling, casting harsh shadows across shelves of canned goods. Ron had given them 5 minutes. You're on the clock, Liv? The door closed. Sudden privacy. James still wore the same suit from yesterday. Now, obviously slept in. He looked like someone who'd spent the night in a car, which he had. Olivia pulled a folded document from her apron pocket. I looked into your situation, she said. Sit down. James sat on a milk crate. She remained standing. The power dynamic reversed. Her space, her terms, her knowledge. She unfolded the document. 12 pages, typed at the library computer, paid for in quarters. This is what you're facing. She walked him through it with clinical precision. Your brother Thomas has been building board support for 18 months. I found SEC filings. He's been buying shares through shell companies. 8 different entities, all tied back to him through shared addresses and overlapping officers. James's face shifted from confusion to understanding. Your divorce lawyer is Catherine Morrison. She went to Yale with Thomas. Same graduating class, 2008. That's not coincidence. How did you find all this? James asked. Public records, legal databases, pattern recognition? She flipped a page. It's not hard if you know what to look for. The timing of your asset freeze isn't luck, it's coordination. Friday's board meeting agenda has already been filed with the SEC. Vote of no confidence in current leadership. They're not hiding it anymore. Why are you helping me? The question stopped her. She looked at him, really looked, and made a choice to be honest. I don't know. Maybe because someone helped me once. Maybe because I'm tired of watching smart people get destroyed by people who are just ruthless. She paused. Maybe because I spent 3 years studying exactly this scenario and never got to use it. Because working here, I watch my brain rot. Because for 30 minutes, I get to be who I used to be. Silence stretched between them. Who did you used to be? James asked quietly. Someone who had options. She checked her phone. 3 minutes left. Now I have a shift. Here's what you need to do. She walked him through the plan. Step 1. You need emergency access to one account. Call your banker directly, David Brennan at Chase. I found his name in old press releases. You thanked him once in 2015. Personal relationships bypass bureaucracy. Step 2. You need legal counsel, not corporate. You need a proxy fight specialist, Sarah Chen at Morrison & Hale in San Francisco. No relation to you, I checked. She's expensive, but she wins. Step 3. You need board allies. Your CFO, Patricia Knowles, has been with you since founding. She hasn't made public statements. That means she's either neutral or quietly supporting you. Secure her first. Step 4. You need evidence of Thomas's shell companies. That proves board manipulation, it's securities fraud, criminal charges. The board will distance from him immediately to avoid liability. Step 5. You need custody leverage. Catherine's lawyer is billing $850 an hour. Your assets are frozen. Where's she getting funds? Probably Thomas. That's witness tampering in a custody case. Use it. James stared at her. This is brilliant. Where did you learn this? University of Washington. Business school. 3 years ago. What happened? The wall slammed back up. Doesn't matter. Will you follow the plan? Yes. He stood. But I need one more thing. What? Come with me. To the board meeting. I need you there. Olivia laughed. Bitter. Sharp. I'm a waitress. They won't let me in the building. I'm the CEO. I say who attends. You're my strategic consultant. I have work. I have a daughter. I can't afford to. I'll pay you $10,000. 1 day's work. Her breath caught. $10,000. 6 months' rent. Emma's medication for a year. New tires for the car. Maybe even restart her MBA applications. But what if it went wrong? What if James wasn't what he seemed? What if this was manipulation? I want it in writing, she said. Contract. Payment regardless of outcome. I don't have a pen, paper, or working phone. Olivia pulled out her order pad from her apron. Write it. Date it. Sign it. James wrote carefully. I, James Whitmore Chen, CEO of Meridian Capital Group, agree to pay Olivia Martinez consulting fee of $10,000 for strategic services rendered Friday, November 15th, 2024. Payment due regardless of outcome. He signed it, handed it to her. She folded it carefully, placed it in her apron pocket next to her tips. Friday, 8:30 a.m. Where do I meet you? Meridian Capital, 42nd floor? He looked at her with something that might have been respect. Dress however you want. You'll be the smartest person in the room regardless. Her phone timer went off. Break over. She walked out of the storage room, back to tables and orders and the performance of invisibility. James watched her go, still trying to understand who she really was. Ron cornered her immediately. What was that about? He needed directions. For 15 minutes. He's very lost. Ron's eyes narrowed. You're playing with fire, Liv. Guys like that don't mix with people like us. Good thing I'm just giving directions then. She walked away. Heart hammering. Touched the IOU in her pocket. Real, tangible, terrifying. Everything was about to change. Wednesday morning, 6:47 a.m. Olivia picked up Emma from Gloria's apartment. Their neighbor who worked night shifts. Same childcare exchange they'd maintained for 2 years. Emma was excited. Mommy, I made you a drawing. The picture showed 3 figures. Olivia, Emma, and a house. A dog in the yard. Caption in careful 5-year-old handwriting. My family happy. Olivia's heart broke and repaired simultaneously. They walked down the stairs to the building entrance. Marcus was waiting. Her ex-husband leaned against his car, new, probably his girlfriend's, with the particular smirk of someone holding all the cards. What are you doing here? Olivia positioned herself between Marcus and Emma. Visiting my daughter. That's allowed. Not without my permission. Court order says supervised visits only. Marcus laughed. Courts change their minds, especially when fathers get stable jobs. Stephanie's father gave me a position, sales manager, $90,000 salary, benefits. His smile widened. Judge will like that. Beats waitressing. Why are you really here? Custody hearing got moved up. Monday, same day actually, as some big corporate meeting downtown. Funny timing. He pulled out his phone, showed her something. We have evidence of unstable home environment. What evidence? I've done everything right. You let a homeless man sleep in your car, with our daughter's car seat. Neighbors saw it, took pictures. Olivia's blood turned to ice. Reckless endangerment, Marcus continued. That's what my lawyer calls it. Exposing Emma to dangerous situations, associating with transients, working overnight shifts, leaving her with neighbors. He wasn't homeless, and Emma wasn't there. Doesn't matter how it actually was, matters how I can make it look. Marcus walked toward his car, called back over his shoulder. See you in court, Liv? Better get a good lawyer. Oh, wait, you can't afford one. He drove away. Emma tugged her hand. Mommy, why was Daddy being mean? Olivia forced a smile. He wasn't, baby, just confused. Let's get you to school. Wednesday afternoon, 3:34 p.m. Olivia had dropped 2 orders, spilled coffee on a customer. Her mind wouldn't focus. Kept replaying Marcus's words. Monday, custody hearing, evidence. Ron called her into his office. The small room smelled like stale coffee and cigarettes. His desk was buried in papers. Delivery invoices, employee schedules. He gestured to the chair. Sit down. Her heart raced. She knew what was coming. You asked for Friday off. 6 hours notice. First time in 3 years. I have a family emergency. Ron leaned back, arms crossed. No. You have a billionaire emergency. Marcus called me. He what? Said he's concerned about Emma's safety. Asked if you've been acting strange. I told him about your new friend, the one sleeping in your car, the one you're meeting in storage rooms. Rage built in Olivia's chest. You had no right. I have every right. You represent this diner. You bring homeless people onto property, you make us liable. He wasn't homeless. Then who is he? Ron leaned forward. Why is he sleeping in your car? Why are you meeting him in storage rooms? What's going on, Liv? She couldn't answer. Explaining would make it worse. Ron's expression hardened. Here's the deal. You work Friday or you're fired. I don't care about your emergency. We're short-staffed. You've been a good employee, but everyone's replaceable. The words hung in the air. Everyone's replaceable. Olivia did the math instantly. James's payment, $10,000, maybe. Guaranteed employment, steady income, barely enough. Rent due Monday, $900. If fired, no new job by Monday. Eviction starts. Emma sees her mother fail. Marcus wins custody. But $10,000 could float them for months during a job search. Could change everything, unless James didn't pay. Unless the IOU was worthless. Unless this whole thing was a con and she'd lose her job for nothing. I need to think about it, she said. Nothing to think about. Friday, you work or you're done. She walked out of the office, touching the IOU in her pocket. Paper promise from a billionaire who'd slept in her car. What had she done? Wednesday night, 11:52 p.m. Emma slept. Olivia sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by papers like evidence at a crime scene. Custody filing from Marcus's lawyer. Mother engages in reckless behavior. Associates with transient individuals. Exposes minor child to unstable situations. Works overnight shifts, leaving child with neighbors. Recommended custody, 70-30 in father's favor. Mail from collections agency. Final month hospice care for Sarah Montgomery, $4,200. Sent to collections, now with interest, $6,947. Final notice before legal action. Electricity bill. Service disconnection scheduled Friday, unless payment received. Amount due, $143. Emma's school fundraiser envelope. Help support our field trip. Suggested donation, $25. Every other student had paid. Emma's name, blank. Olivia pulled out her calculator. Did the math she'd done 1,000 times. Current money, $389.92. Rent due Monday, $900 medication needed Friday. $287 electricity, $143 food for week. $80 are total needed, $140.10 gap, $120 down at OID with James's $10,000. Everything paid. 6 months breathing room. Fight Marcus with a real lawyer. Fix the car. Maybe even restart her life. Without it, eviction, custody loss, everything she'd rebuilt for 3 years, gone. She sat on the floor, papers spread around her like debris from an explosion. And the dam broke. 7 minutes of crying. Not quiet, dignified tears. Raw, violent sobs that tore through her body. The kind of crying that leaves you gasping, unable to breathe, drowning in air. She cried for her lost career, her dead mother, her failed marriage, her daughter's stolen innocence, her own failure to escape the trap poverty had built around them. Mommy? Emma's voice from the bedroom doorway. Olivia forced control instantly. I'm okay, baby. Go back to sleep. Are you sad? Just a little tired. You work too hard. I work because I love you. Emma padded across the floor, wrapped small arms around her mother's neck. I love you more than infinity. Olivia held her daughter, breaking silently. After Emma returned to bed, Olivia pulled out the box from under her bed. Her mother's belongings, hospital ID badge, photos and scrubs, and the letter, written 3 weeks before death, handwriting shaky from illness. Olivia, my love, you have healing hands in business the way I have healing hands in medicine. Don't let one bad man take that from you. Your father tried to take my nursing from me, said I was neglecting family. I almost quit. I'm so glad I didn't. The work you do matters. The brain you have matters. Don't ever make yourself small for someone else's comfort. You are enough. You have always been enough. Olivia read it 3 times. Her mother had fought to stay in her profession. Hadn't let a man diminish her. Died knowing she'd made a difference. Olivia stood up, washed her face, opened her laptop, typed, "Ron, I quit. Effective immediately. Mail my final check." Typed, "James, I'll be there Friday, 8:30 a.m. Don't make me regret this." Looked at Emma's drawing on the fridge. Whispered, "I'm going to show you what fighting back looks like." The memories came in fragments. 15 years earlier, 2009. Olivia at 13. Watching her mother save a child's life in a hospital parking lot. Everyone frozen in panic. A school bus, a choking child, chaos. Her mother running out, taking control, performing the Heimlich with precision born from training and refusal to let fear win. Young Olivia asked, "How did you know what to do?" Training, practice, and refusing to let fear make you small. What if you'd been wrong? Then I'd have been wrong trying. But doing nothing, that's the only real failure. 10 years earlier, 2014, University of Washington, full scholarship, business administration with concentration in corporate strategy. Professor Richard Thornton noticing her talent, the way she saw power dynamics others missed. Her paper, Hostile Takeovers, Family Betrayal Patterns in Tech Startups. Professor's note, exceptional analysis. You see what most people never develop the instinct for. Consider MBA after graduation. She did. Got accepted, full ride. Specializing in corporate restructuring, the future looked limitless. 3 years ago, 2021, MBA student, 3rd semester. Meets Marcus Brennan, charming, claims to be an entrepreneur. Whirlwind romance, 4 months. Pregnant with Emma. "Marry me. I'll take care of everything." She believed him. Deferred MBA for 1 semester. Emma born. Everything changed. Marcus's business wasn't real. Gambling addiction revealed. Debt, $35,000. Joint account drained, $12,000 gone. "I need to go back to school. We need money now. Get a job." Waitressing job. Temporarily. Her mother diagnosed. Stage 4 cancer. 6 months to live. Olivia dropped out to care for her mother, work, raise Emma. Marcus left. "I can't handle this pressure." Mother died. Debt collectors came. Eviction happened. 2 weeks living in the car with Emma, age 2. Palmer's Diner parking lot. Martha at the gas station buying them breakfast. $12 that felt like salvation. 3 years rebuilding to reach $389.92. Thursday night, 9:47 p.m. Library computer. Olivia created a presentation that would either save James or destroy her. Evidence of Thomas's shell companies mapped visually. Timeline showing coordinated attack. Board member profiles, who's loyal, who's bought, recommended talking points. Contingency plans if the board turned hostile. She burned it to a USB drive. Borrowed Gloria's blazer, professional but slightly too big. Practiced in the mirror. "My name is Olivia Martinez. I'm here as strategic consultant." Her voice steady. Not waitress Olivia, business school Olivia, the person she used to be. Emma watched from the doorway. "Mommy, you look pretty." "I have an important meeting tomorrow." "Are you scared?" "Terrified. But scared doesn't mean don't do it." Emma smiled. "Like when I had to get my shots." Exactly like that. She put Emma to bed, read an extra story. Emma asked, "Will you be home tomorrow night?" "Yes. And everything's going to be better, I promise." After Emma slept, Olivia laid out clothes, set her alarm for 6 a.m., checked the bus route, 2 buses, 47 minutes, prepared a backup plan. If James wasn't there, she'd go home, cut her losses. But in her gut, she knew. He'd be there. He had to be. Olivia's walking into a situation where she could lose everything. Her job's gone. Her ex is weaponizing her kindness. And tomorrow, she's betting her daughter's future on a billionaire's IOU. Before the confrontation, I want to know, do you think James will actually pay her? Or is this another powerful man using someone desperate? Drop your prediction below. Be honest. Have you ever trusted someone with power who let you down? What happened? Here's why you need to subscribe. The next 20 minutes contain 3 revelations that will reframe this entire story. You think you know what happens in that boardroom? You're wrong. The twist isn't what you expect. Make sure you're subscribed so YouTube shows you the finale. And if you've made it this far, leave a like. It tells YouTube this matters, and more people who need this story will see it. This is about invisible people becoming visible, about using your brain when the system says you're not allowed to. Hit that subscribe button now. Friday, 8:22 a.m., downtown Seattle. Olivia stepped off the bus into a different world. The financial district gleamed with glass and steel. 42 stories of Meridian Capital towering above her like a monument to everything she'd never have. Women in Armani suits, men in Brioni, everyone moving with the confidence of people who belonged. She wore Gloria's borrowed blazer and Kmart pants. Already didn't belong. The security desk loomed. Name? Olivia Martinez. I'm here for the board meeting. The guard checked his screen, frowned. You're not on the list. Her heart stopped. Of course she wasn't. This had been a mistake, a fantasy. She should leave before. She's with me. James appeared from the elevator. Clean-shaven, sharp suit, back in his element. He looked like a different person from the man who had slept in her car. Add her to the list, James told security. Yes, Mr. Chen. The elevator ride felt eternal. Just the 2 of them ascending toward the 42nd floor. You came, James said. You doubted? No, but I'm grateful. The doors opened. Glass walls. Elliott Bay stretching to the horizon. Art worth more than she'd make in 10 lifetimes. Olivia's internal voice screamed, "You don't belong here." But James leaned close, whispered, "Walk like you own the place. You're the smartest person here." She took a breath, adjusted her borrowed blazer, walked forward. The conference room was designed to intimidate. 30-foot table, leather chairs that probably cost more than her rent. 15 people already seated, board members, lawyers, executives, all watching as she entered. Patricia Knowles, the CFO, offered sympathetic eyes. Robert Hastings, a major investor, sat with arms crossed, already hostile. And Thomas Chen, James's brother, the orchestrator of this coup, wore a smug smile that said he'd already won. Who is this? Thomas asked. Olivia Martinez, strategic consultant, James said evenly. Thomas laughed, actually laughed. You brought a waitress to a board meeting? Silence crashed through the room. Everyone stared. They knew. Of course they knew. People like Thomas made it their business to know things. Olivia felt shame burn through her chest. But she kept her face neutral, her posture straight. James's voice went cold. She has more strategic insight than anyone at this table. James, this is pathetic. You're grasping at straws. Robert Hastings cleared his throat. Mr. Chen, with respect, this is highly irregular. So is a coordinated coup by my brother and my ex-wife, James said. The room went silent. Thomas recovered quickly. That's a serious accusation. It's the truth, and I can prove it. James pulled out folders, began presenting evidence. Thomas's shell companies, 8 entities, all linked through shared addresses and overlapping officers. Stock purchases over 18 months, each transaction carefully structured to stay below reporting thresholds. Collectively, 14% beneficial ownership, securities fraud, board member payments traced through those same shell companies. 3 members had received consulting fees in the past 6 months. Undisclosed conflicts of interest. Timeline: divorce filing September 1st. Thomas's largest stock purchase September 3rd. Asset freeze September 7th. Emergency board meeting September 9th. 9 days. Perfect coordination. Patricia Knowles leaned forward. Thomas, is this true? Circumstantial. Thomas remained calm, prepared. I've done nothing illegal. Securities fraud, undisclosed beneficial ownership, market manipulation, James countered. Robert Hastings frowned. If true, this is criminal. Thomas turned to Olivia. Tell me, Ms. Martinez, what qualifies you to be here? She stayed silent. Frozen. This wasn't her world. She was just a waitress in a borrowed blazer. That's what I thought. Thomas turned back to the board. James, you've lost perspective. The board needs stable leadership, not desperate theatrics. Stable? You've been sabotaging me for... I've been saving this company from your reckless decisions. The room erupted in crosstalk, arguments, accusations. Olivia's internal voice, leave, this isn't your fight. But then, memory of her mother. Don't let fear make you small. May I speak? Her voice cut through the noise. Everyone stopped, turned. James nodded. Please. Thomas smirked. This should be entertaining. Olivia stood, pulled out the USB drive, her hand steady despite her hammering heart. May I use the screen? She plugged in the drive. Her presentation loaded. Slide 1. Shell Company Network Analysis, visual map connecting all 8 entities. Shared addresses, overlapping officers. Timeline of stock purchases color-coded by date. Her voice emerged steady, clinical, devastating. These purchases violated Section 13D, reporting requirements. Each transaction individually stayed below the 5% reporting threshold. Collectively, they represent 14% beneficial ownership. That's securities fraud. Slide 2. Coordinated timeline. Every date laid out visually. Divorce filing, stock purchases, asset freeze, board meeting. The coordination here isn't coincidental. September 1st, divorce filing. September 3rd, Thomas's largest stock purchase, 2 days later. September 7th, asset freeze granted. September 9th, emergency board meeting scheduled. That's a 9-day coordinated attack. Slide 3. Financial trail Catherine's legal fees. $340,000 paid while James's assets were frozen. Source of funds, Shell Company, Emerald Holdings, LLC. Owner of Emerald Holdings, Thomas Chen. Thomas is funding James's ex-wife's legal attack while James's assets are frozen. That's witness tampering in custody proceedings. It also proves coordination between the divorce and the corporate coup. Slide 4. Board member analysis, 3 board members highlighted. Consulting fees received. From Thomas's shell companies. dates aligning perfectly with Auntie James' votes. 3 board members received payments from Thomas's entities in the past 6 months. Undisclosed conflicts of interest. Their votes on this matter are legally invalid. Absolute silence in the room. Patricia Knowles spoke first. Where did you get all this? Public records, SEC filings, legal documents filed with King County Superior Court, corporate registration databases. It's all there if you know where to look. Robert Hastings turned to Thomas. Respond. Thomas was sweating now, composure cracking. This woman has no authority to... I have a bachelor's in business administration from the University of Washington and 2 years of MBA coursework specializing in corporate restructuring. Olivia's voice remained steady. I wrote my graduate thesis on hostile takeovers using family betrayal patterns. This is textbook Chapter 7 methodology. I got an A+. The room stared. Thomas tried again. Who are you really? What waitress has this knowledge? And Olivia decided to tell the truth. Who am I really? Olivia's voice cut through the boardroom tension. One who had a full-ride MBA scholarship. One who was 3 months from graduating when her husband drained their accounts, her mother got cancer, and her life fell apart. She looked directly at Thomas. No fear, just truth. One who's been rebuilding for 3 years. One who spent last night with $43 in her bank account, choosing between her daughter's medication and electricity. One who quit her job this morning to be here because I'm tired, so tired, of watching brilliant people get destroyed by ruthless people who mistake cruelty for strategy. The room was silent. Patricia Knowles spoke quietly. Why did you help him? Olivia's answer came from somewhere deep. Because 3 years ago, I slept in my car with my 2-year-old daughter in that diner's parking lot. An elderly woman named Martha bought us breakfast at a gas station. $12. She said, I've been where you are, baby. Pass it forward someday. When I saw James sitting in that booth, unable to pay for coffee, I saw myself. And I remembered that someone saw me when I was invisible. She turned to James. You asked me who I used to be. I used to be someone who believed the system rewarded merit. Then I learned it rewards proximity to power. So I'm here because merit should matter more than who you know. Because brilliance shouldn't be invisible just because it's wearing a waitress uniform. Robert Hastings leaned forward. This evidence, if it's verified, it changes everything. Thomas tried one last time. You can't trust a waitress over me. I've been with this company 12 years. Olivia's response was surgical. And you've been planning this takeover for 18 months. You're not family, Mr. Chen. You're a corporate raider who happens to share DNA. James stood. There's one more thing. He pulled out a folder Olivia hadn't seen before. Thomas, you asked why Catherine knew to file in September. Why the timing was perfect. He opened it. Text messages, screenshots, dates and times stamped on each one. Between Thomas and Catherine, planning the attack, the exact messages appeared on the screen. Thomas Chen. If we hit him simultaneously, divorce and board, he can't defend both fronts. Catherine Chen. I need $400K for legal fees. Can you help? Thomas Chen. Done. Just keep him away from Victoria. Supervised visits only. Catherine Chen. When he loses the company, I'll have full custody and you'll have Meridian. Thomas Chen. Exactly. He built it, but we'll run it better. The boardroom erupted. James. Patricia started. The conference room doors opened. Catherine Chen walked in, flanked by her attorney. Every head turned. She wasn't supposed to be here. James's voice was controlled, but barely. I invited her. Thought she should explain. Catherine's face had gone pale. James, I can explain. You used our daughter. His voice broke slightly. Victoria became leverage in your revenge. You coordinated with my brother, to destroy me financially and personally. You said I was an unfit father while taking money from the person orchestrating my corporate takedown. You were never there. Catherine's composure shattered. You chose this company over us, over Victoria. She needed you, and you were always in this building, in these meetings, choosing strangers over your own daughter. So you chose revenge over her well-being. The silence that followed was crushing. James pulled out another document. The custody evaluator will be very interested in these messages, especially the part where you discussed keeping me from Victoria until you had full control of the financial situation. That's parental alienation, Catherine. You weaponized our daughter. Catherine's lawyer stepped forward. Mr. Chen, perhaps we should discuss this privately. No? James's voice was firm. No more privacy, no more backroom deals. Thomas coordinated with my wife to destroy me. He funded her legal attack while freezing my assets. That's not business strategy. It's betrayal. And it ends now. Patricia Knowles stood. Her voice carried the weight of 15 years with the company. I moved to table the no-confidence vote pending full investigation of Thomas Chen's shell company activities and potential securities fraud. Robert Hastings didn't hesitate. Seconded. Thomas shot to his feet. You can't do this. This is a witch hunt based on circumstantial. We can, and we are. Patricia's tone was ice. Thomas, you're suspended from all duties effective immediately, pending legal review. Security will escort you from the building. This is my company, too. Thomas's composure finally cracked completely. I've given 12 years. You worked for me. James's voice was quiet but absolute. I built Meridian from nothing, from a garage with 3 employees and a dream. You joined when we already had funding, clients, and momentum. You contributed, yes, but you never built. And you sure as hell don't get to destroy. Security appeared at the door. Thomas looked around the room, searching for allies. Found none. As they escorted him out, he pointed at Olivia. This is her fault. A waitress. You're letting a waitress destroy this family. Olivia met his eyes. No, Mr. Chen. I'm letting your actions speak for themselves. The door closed behind him. Catherine stood slowly. James, we need to talk about Victoria. We do, but not here. And not while you're funded by my brother's fraud. He softened slightly. She's our daughter, Catherine. I failed her. I failed you. But I won't fail her again. We'll figure out co-parenting that actually puts her first. Catherine nodded, left quietly, her lawyer trailing behind. The remaining board members shifted uncomfortably. Robert Hastings spoke first. James, we owe you an apology. We should have investigated before scheduling this vote. We let proximity blind us to truth. You should have trusted me. James's exhaustion showed through. I built this company on integrity. 1 bad quarter, 1 messy divorce, and you were ready to remove me without question. Patricia stood beside him. We do trust you. That's why we're staying. That's why we just voted to protect you. The other board members nodded agreement. James looked at Olivia. She stood perfectly still, probably wondering if she was supposed to leave now, if her part was over. "Meeting adjourned," James said. "Patricia, please coordinate with legal on the Thomas situation. Everyone else, back to work. We have a company to run." The room cleared slowly. Whispered conversations, sideways glances at Olivia, until only James and Olivia remained. The boardroom felt massive with just the two of them. "Thank you." James's voice was raw. "That word doesn't cover what you did, but thank you." Olivia pulled the IOU from her pocket, unfolded it carefully. "You're welcome, and I need my payment." James pulled out his checkbook, the first working credit instrument he'd had access to since David Brennan had unfrozen one emergency account that morning. He wrote, $10,000, handed it to her. Olivia stared at the check. Real, tangible, 6 months of rent. Emma's medication for a year, maybe car repairs, maybe... James gently took the check back, added another zero. $100,000, or... Her breath stopped. "I can't accept." "You can." His voice was firm. "You saved my company. You saved my relationship with my daughter. You did in 3 days what my lawyers couldn't do in 3 months. What my entire executive team missed. You saw patterns, connected dots, and built a strategy that would make Harvard case studies jealous." Olivia's eyes were wet. "I have a custody hearing Monday. Marcus, my ex, is using the night I helped you against me. Reckless endangerment for letting a transient sleep in my car." James pulled out his phone. "Patricia, come back in, please." Patricia re-entered, curious. "Olivia needs legal representation. Best family law attorney in Seattle. Someone who specializes in custody cases with economic disparity factors. Meridian pays, full retainer." Patricia nodded. "I know exactly who to call. Done." James wasn't finished. "And she needs a job." Olivia's hand went up. "I don't want charity." "It's not charity." James's expression was serious. "It's hiring someone who just proved she's the most strategically brilliant person I've met in a decade. Director of Strategic Analysis, $150,000 salary. Start Monday, or whenever you finish destroying your ex-husband's custody case." "I don't have my MBA." "So finish it. Meridian pays tuition. You work 3 days a week while you complete your degree. Full benefits. Emma gets full medical coverage. Those asthma medications are covered. 0 copay." Olivia couldn't speak, couldn't process. This morning she'd had 389.92s and no job. Now she had a check for $100,000, a legal team, and a career. "Why?" Her voice barely worked. "Why are you doing this?" James's answer was simple. "Because you saw me when I was invisible. Because you helped me when you couldn't afford to. Because you deserve better than just surviving." 2 bedrooms. Emma finally had her own room. Walls painted pale purple, her choice. Stuffed animals arranged on shelves. Drawing table by the window. The custody hearing had lasted 30 minutes. Marcus withdrew his petition after James's legal team produced evidence. The stable job was fabricated. Stephanie's father had never employed him. Fraud on court documents. Perjury. The judge awarded Olivia full custody. Marcus got supervised visits only, pending completion of a parenting course and gambling addiction treatment. Emma asked once, "Why isn't Daddy coming to live with us?" Olivia knelt to her level. "Because Daddy needs to learn some things first. But you'll still see him, and you're safe. Always safe with me." "I know, Mommy." Emma hugged her. "You're the strongest person in the world." Olivia's office had her name on the door. Actual nameplate: Olivia Martinez, Director of Strategic Analysis. Window view of Elliott Bay. Desk with dual monitors. Her textbooks on the shelf, the same ones from her car, now displayed proudly. MBA classes restarted in January. Part-time program, 2 years to completion. Professor Thornton had called personally. I knew you'd be back. Talent like yours doesn't stay hidden forever. Emma's new school had an art program, a music program, a science lab. She'd made 3 friends in 2 weeks. Medical insurance covered everything. The asthma inhaler arrived by mail, 0 copay. Olivia cried the first time. Her mother's hospice bill, $6,847, paid in full. Collections agency closed the file. New tires on the Honda, oil change, brake pads. It ran smooth now. James stopped by her office late afternoon. How are you settling in? Still feels like someone else's life, Olivia admitted. It's yours. You earned it. Silence. Comfortable now. I wanted to tell you something, James said. That night in your car, I was at my lowest point. Everything I thought mattered was gone. And you helped me not because of who I was, but because of who you are. I'll never forget that. I helped you because I knew what it felt like. Because someone helped me once. Martha, the gas station woman. You remembered. I remember everything. James pulled out a folder. I'm setting up a foundation for people like you. People working beneath their capability because life knocked them down. Full scholarships, living stipends, child care support, legal assistance, everything you needed but couldn't access. We're calling it the Second Chance Initiative. Olivia's throat tightened. You're going to run it. After you finish your MBA, executive director. You'll build the systems, screen candidates, allocate resources. You'll make sure what happened to you doesn't keep happening to others. I don't know what to say. Say you'll keep being exactly who you are. Someone who sees invisible people. Someone who believes in second chances. Someone who proves kindness isn't weakness. 6 months later at Palmer's Diner, Olivia and Emma walked through the door. Ron was behind the counter. He froze when he saw them. Hi, Ron. Table for 2? He recovered slowly. Liv, I heard about your new job. Congratulations. Thank you. I'm sorry. The words seemed difficult for him. About how I treated you. About threatening your job. I was wrong. Olivia studied him. Saw fear there. Fear of someone who'd been cruel to a person who now had power. You were wrong, she agreed. But I understand. Fear makes people small. Makes them protect what little they have by diminishing others. She sat in the booth, the same one James had sat in 6 months ago. Emma ordered chocolate cake. Same kind James had ordered for Victoria during their reconciliation visit. Olivia's phone buzzed. Text from James. Board approved the foundation. $50 million initial funding. You start as executive director in January. We're changing lives, Olivia. She looked around the diner, saw the servers. Marcus still cooking, Ashley waiting tables, new faces in old uniforms. All of them tired, all of them probably brilliant in ways no one saw. How many had stories like hers? How many were one break away from transformation? How many just needed to be seen? Her phone buzzed again. Martha, they'd found her 3 months ago. Thank you for the groceries again, baby. You didn't have to. Olivia texted back. Passing it forward, just like you asked. 1 year later. The building in South Lake Union was modest compared to Meridian's tower, but it was theirs. 3 floors, conference rooms, interview spaces, computer labs for scholarship recipients, grand opening day, 200 people filled the main hall. Donors, recipients, press, community leaders. James stood at the podium first. We believe in invisible brilliance. People society overlooks but desperately needs. The single mother with an MBA working retail because childcare costs more than entry-level salary. The PhD driving Uber because one medical emergency destroyed their credit. The veteran with logistics expertise living in a shelter because PTSD doesn't fit corporate culture. He gestured to Olivia, standing to the side. 1 year ago, I met someone who changed my life. I was at my lowest point, broke, betrayed, broken, and a waitress paid my coffee tab. $4.75. She had $43 until Friday, but she paid anyway. The audience was silent. That small act of kindness saved my company, my relationship with my daughter, and my understanding of what actually matters. This foundation exists because of her, because she proved that brilliance doesn't announce itself with credentials. It shows up in how people think, solve problems, and treat others when no one's watching. Olivia took the podium. A year ago, she couldn't have done this. Would have been too scared, too convinced she didn't belong. Now she owned the space. 1 year ago, I was a waitress with $389 in my account and an MBA I'd never finish. Someone saw me. Someone gave me a chance. But here's the truth. I was always brilliant. I was always strategic. I was always capable. The only thing that changed was access and opportunity. She let that sit. This foundation exists, so seeing talent isn't luck. It's systematic. We've awarded 47 full scholarships. 23 people have completed degrees. 12 started new careers. 189 are on our waiting list. We've raised $3.2 million, but money isn't the point. She clicked to the next slide. Faces, real people. Sarah was a corporate lawyer until medical bankruptcy from her daughter's leukemia treatment. Now she's working at Target. We gave her a path back to law. She starts at a nonprofit next month. Next slide. David was a software engineer until his company folded and ageism kept him unemployed at 52. He was delivering food. We retrained him in current frameworks. He's now leading development at a startup. Next slide. Michelle was a concert violinist until arthritis ended her performance career. She was cleaning houses. We helped her transition to teaching. She now runs a music program for underserved schools. Olivia's voice strengthened. Every person here was told they weren't enough, weren't credentialed enough, weren't connected enough, weren't young enough or polished enough or lucky enough. We don't accept that. Brilliance doesn't expire because life got hard. Movement in the back of the room. An elderly woman in a purple dress moving slowly with a cane. Martha. Olivia's breath caught. She'd invited her, but wasn't sure she'd come. Martha was 73 now, health declining. But she was here. Before we continue, Olivia said, voice thick, I need to introduce someone. She stepped down from the podium, walked to Martha, offered her arm, led her to the stage. This is Martha Henderson. 3 years ago, she bought breakfast for a desperate single mother and toddler at a gas station. Eggs, toast, orange juice. $12. The audience was utterly still. I was that mother. My daughter Emma was that toddler. We'd been living in our car. I was at my absolute lowest point. And Martha saw me, not through me, but me. She said, I've been where you are, baby. Pass it forward someday. Martha's eyes were wet. That $12 didn't just feed us that morning. It fed my hope. It reminded me that kindness exists, that being seen matters. And when I saw James sitting in that diner unable to pay for coffee, I heard Martha's voice. "Pass it forward." Olivia turned to Martha. "You saved my life that day. This foundation, all 47 scholarships, all 23 degrees, all 12 new careers, exists because you saw someone invisible and chose kindness. That $12 became 100,000. That 100,000 became this foundation. That's the exponential power of seeing people." The room stood. Applause rolled like thunder. Martha spoke, voice soft but caring. "I didn't know any of this would happen. I just knew you needed help. That's all any of us can do. See the person in front of us and help if we can." Simple truth. Devastating in its simplicity. Later that evening, Olivia and James stood at the railing. Seattle spread below them. Lights reflecting off Elliott Bay, the Space Needle glowing in the distance. Emma and Victoria played behind them, 6 years old now, best friends despite their different worlds. Emma was teaching Victoria sign language. Victoria was teaching Emma patience with her autism-friendly communication cards. "You changed my life," James said quietly. "We changed each other's." He turned to face her. "What's next? The foundation's stable. You're graduating with your MBA in 3 weeks. Fortune 500 companies are calling. What do you want?" Olivia didn't hesitate. "I want to scale this. National program, 50 states. Not 47 scholarships, 47,000. Not 3.2 million raised, 3.2 billion. I want to make invisible brilliance impossible to ignore." "Then let's do it." Behind them, Emma laughed at something Victoria signed. Olivia watched her daughter, healthy, happy, safe, playing with the daughter of a man who'd once slept in their car. "You know what I think about sometimes," Olivia said. "That night in the parking lot, if I'd walked past you, if I'd chosen safety over kindness, Emma and Victoria wouldn't be friends. The foundation wouldn't exist. Those 47 people would still be invisible. But you didn't walk past, because Martha didn't walk past me." She smiled. "It's all connected. Every choice ripples." The city lights blurred slightly. Happy tears this time. 1 year ago, I was counting dollars until Friday. Now I'm counting lives will change. That's not luck, James. That's what happens when people choose to see each other. Sometimes the people who have the least give the most. Sometimes the powerful need to lose everything to see clearly. And sometimes, one act of kindness in a diner parking lot can change the entire trajectory of 2 lives. And through them, thousands more. The Second Chance Initiative is real. The invisible brilliance is real. And somewhere right now, someone working beneath their capability is one act of kindness away from transformation. Will you be the one who sees them? Olivia's journey from $389 to executive director took 1 year. But it started with one choice: to help someone when she couldn't afford to. Here's what I didn't tell you at the beginning. This is story 47 in my Hidden Genius series. Real people working invisible jobs who have skills that would shock you. PhDs driving Lyft. Former attorneys cleaning houses. Concert pianists waiting tables. Every single one has a story that will restore your faith in invisible people. But I need your help. YouTube's algorithm only pushes content to engage subscribers. If you're not subscribed, you'll miss the next stories. And trust me, they're worth it. Next week, The night janitor at Goldman Sachs who used to run forensic accounting. What he discovered in the trash cans led to federal investigation. His story ends in a courtroom you won't believe. Here's what I need you to do. First, subscribe right now. Don't wait. Second, hit the like button if this story moved you. Third, drop a comment below. What hidden skill do you have that would shock people who only see your job title? I read every comment. Your story might be next. And if you know someone working beneath their capability, someone brilliant who's been knocked down, share this video. Let them know they're not alone. Let them know transformation is possible.